Hey everyone, it's Zach with Palantir Research. Tons of news this week related to government deals and other commercial deals, but also plenty of other negative and positive sides all week to catch up on. So looking at the stock first briefly, Palantir closed out the week in the mid 17s, and which is down around 10% for the week. Now taking a zoom out though for our 5 new day candles, price action-wise, we obviously fell right through the 20s, right through 19, and tested $17 as support. So it'll be interesting to see what comes next. Now, to start off the week strong, we had Dan Ives make an appearance on CNBC regarding his overall bullish thoughts on the markets, especially around tech. He notes bears have been too focused on interest rates and yields while ignoring the other indicators of strength in the market, and he continues to tout Palantir as the golden child of AI or Messi of AI, and says it's still one of the only pure AI plays out there. But that's always good to hear. But getting into the negative quickly, Palantir receives a negative William Blair analyst report, putting them at an underperform/sell with no price target. The bigger story is that they put a whole narrative around concern with a renewal of one of Palantir's large Army contracts from 2019 with the Vantage program due to vendor lock-in or uncertainty around intellectual property of the data ownership. Now, there can still be a split of renewal getting Palantir less money here, but spinning off the story that they're unhappy with the IP in terms of what was a bigger concern around Palantir overall's reputation was what everyone focused on here. However, later in the week, it was shown that Palantir's head of communications first, Lisa Gordon, basically saying there is no concern around that and continues to say the same statements that Palantir does not own any government or commercial customer data. So it's great for them to respond to this. And then later on that day, Shyam Sankar as well and the Army have their quote saying that they're happy with clarifying their remarks on data ownership. Basically, they're happy with the Army Vantage program, IP contract language, and the open data environment that they're currently using. So I made a video as soon as possible when that was announced to ensure that piece of the story is there. But right in the morning, William Blair doubles down and reiterates their sell underperformance rating, which I think is fine since valuation is always an art, and you can argue either way with different points. But they reiterate that point of expect less in the renewal, which I guess if you're trying to move away from the big bombshell that you were spewing earlier about a relationship with friction and concerns with Palantir's commercial IP license, sure. But no one was really fighting you on that there. So hope that's all over with and done with for now. While we're talking about the Army too, there's a couple stories too that came out of this, revealing the Titan program timeline, which is basically down to Palantir versus Raytheon, which is now RTX, and that's been going on for more than a year to do their prototyping. And we get a timeline that the single winner should be announced between January and March of 2024. The significance here is that we have officials themselves giving the time frame, so we'd hope that they can stick to it and potentially award this to Palantir if they are to succeed at that time. Do note though, we were expecting a decision here by end of year, but it looks like that was pushed back. And then even also on X, Shyam Sankar released photos of their headsets and the mixed reality and IC2 product visualizations that are part of their work with the Army. So the infinite screen real estate is what he pointed out there inside the Striker, pointed out how useful this can be technologically, of course, for the armed forces. And then just using my own imagination, not needing monitors as hardware to be installed and powered on vehicles, opens up more opportunities and space for other technology to be implemented inside these vehicles. And then that compounding effect can really touch how military equipment is designed in the future and then produced. And then as well as their continued support in the Army, showing an ad for the Army-Navy football game. Always a pleasant surprise here to sprinkle those into your marketing campaign just for that name recognition. And then we go on to some awesome news revealed by Palantir themselves on their AIP virtual table blog. And this was a post that had Tyson Foods having a quote. So they talk about the merits and everything, but they revealed in a customer quote by their staff solutions architect that they can clean up to their cloud spend by 40 to 50%. And that's just by removing large amounts of duplication and processing storage and to get to that single source of truth that a lot of organizations desire. Now, I'm not saying this will be typical results, especially if your organization has been pretty good about managing your architecture and your development over time. But many old school or bloated organizations just pick up different legacy systems, and it can get a little bit disorganized here and stranded. And then these overlapping solutions in different areas of the company can remain duplicated. But given the opportunity here over time, a lot of these organizations would choose to be standardized and solidified together and really pin down their source of truth. So this, I think, is a huge selling point for these type of customers, and hope Palantir continues to share quotes like these. And also revealed by Palantir, the HISA, or Horse Racing Integrity and Safety Authority, they'll be making their platform, developed alongside Palantir, of course, available to all their horse racing events under their jurisdiction by early 2024. The big note here is that it took veterinarians hours to do this pre-race check per race, whereas the platform skills is down to only minutes, so huge value there. And even better, Ted Mabry was quoted as saying, "This is the result of an AIP bootcamp, and it's really giving the HISA the accelerated accelerant needed to produce a solution within weeks. And I think this speaks strongly in connection to management's comments on AIP bootcamps and the value it brings customers. When you can get a usable product so quickly like this example that can be implemented, then what's the reason to not sign on to Palantir? If you're able to get value and calculate that in comparison to the cost and the economics make sense, then this would obviously be the reason that we see such strong demand for AIP when seeing 200 in November instead of that 140 that was expected. So overall, this is great to hear, and then with management's positivity alongside this, so I hope to see more examples like HISA and Tyson. Then we also get a new demo by our beloved Chad that show off RAG and OAG. I won't walk through the details here, the whole thing's on video, but check out their blog post as well as that 30-minute YouTube demo. It's a great way to showcase their products for potential end users and can be useful marketing material as well to demonstrate during the sales process that there are a lot of resources at customers' fingertips in order to maximize the value out of Palantir's products and gain familiarity even before you have it implemented. So I hope they continue to post these consistently in the future. Now, back on the negative side a little bit, we saw that huge sale by Sompo, who sold around half their stake, and were able to recognize a $584 million profit, or 86 billion yen. Now, for their answer, which is nice because we usually don't get one here, they're going to be putting this money into investments for growth through research and development and mergers and acquisitions, as well as shareholder returns here. So it's pretty generic. And maybe coincidentally, but also for their Japan business, Palantir signed an expansion of their partnership for $40 million with Fujitsu. They'll be helping out disseminating Palantir through their Uvance platform and their customer base, while Palantir continues to focus on their AIP expansion in the United States and abroad. They did an interview together on Fox Business talking about the deal and gave their perspectives on AI. And interestingly, they also asked Karp about potential military deals with Japan, but nothing revealed here specifically besides compliments for the US allies, as well as alluding to their interest in improving defense technology. And then on a quick note too, Palantir continues to keep their footprint in New York City, renewed their lease at 620 Avenue of Americas in Manhattan. Just a cool footnote there to know that they've listed as one of the largest lease renewals for November. And then Palantir is also losing a director on the government side here, Earl Scott. Nothing huge to note besides he was working on the Air Force logistics side at Palantir since 2022. So good luck to him, and hopefully this isn't a trend of departure starting or indicative of anything else. And Palantir continues to be very proactive in their support for pro-Israel and their stance there. They are opening 180 positions for students that may have been experiencing anti-Semitism on college campuses. You can have your own opinion here on this, but I think it's a good way of getting the right kind of talent into their organization, considering their mission and full-hearted support for the West, and noting how the organization's products have been developed over the years. It's the people that make it. And regardless of where you stand on the Israel-Hamas conflict, it's pretty cut and dry, at least where Palantir stands, and as investors, you should understand that. So they'd want people to work there who can stand behind that as well. But another crazy busy week done here, and I'll see you in the next video.